Hello, my name is Gwen, and today we're going to have some fun with the use of a blanket. So go ahead and grab yourself a blanket. It'll need to be the length of your spine. So give it a fold. I have a Mexican blanket. I'm going to fold it and then roll it. You can roll it tight. And if you have a favorite blanket, please use that. Or if you have a bolster, or maybe you'd like to use one of your yoga blocks or two, you can line them up and then drape the blanket over. You can have the head up a wee bit, but for today, I'm going to represent the blanket flat. So you place that right at your back body, and then situate your spinal column up and down. And if your neck is, your chin's way up and your neck is exposed to the ceiling, then you might need a lift underneath the head. So you go ahead and grab yourself another rolled blanket and place it right underneath the back of the skull. And then allow your knees to bend. Press into the feet and lift the sit bones up off the floor. Lengthen them down towards the heels and then lower. A few times just like that, a little lift. Lengthen down and lower. And then one more just like that. Let yourself rest when you can and heel toe your feet a little wider so the toes come inward and the inner knees knock like a lean-to. Let them lean into each other. Come into your breath now. Let's take 2 cleansing breaths before we start to control our breath. On your next inhale, go ahead and invite that inhale all the way in and up. Exhale out the mouth, a natural sigh. Again, in and then inhale for 5 or 6, nice and slowly, and exhale for 5 or 6 through the nose or the mouth. Follow your breath now. In through the nose. And as you exhale, feel the whole body surrender. As we breathe, let's form our intention for our practice today. May we let the breath be that thread that weaves in and around all throughout our practice and binds us together. So let the breath be the most important part of your practice today. The practice within the practice. As we come into all of these shapes. Our intention to stay below the thinking mind and focus on the breath. As we unravel and unwind that pathway through the lower spine, the side of the tush, all the way down the back of the leg to the heel and the sole of the foot. The pathway of the sciatic nerve. We will soften up this area, release discomfort, and come into a place where it just feels good. In through the nose for a count of 5 or 6, and out through the nose for a count of 5 or 6. Go ahead and take the knees away from each other now. And then slide the sit bones over to one side. As you roll right off of your prop, use a lower arm as a pillow and feel how the body is organizing itself now. Can you feel the subtle sensation? The softness underneath the skin of the back, of the hips. Maybe for you it's in the shoulders. And then go take your upper hand, clear the runway, so you'll take the blanket right out as you come to your back with bent knees. Keep the knees bent for now. Have the inner knees knock and the feet outward. And feel into the flatness right below the base of the spine, the sit bones, all the way to the back of the skull. Notice the width of the torso. And what are the legs feeling like all the way up from the hips to the knees, down to the heels, to the sole of the foot. Take one more breath as you scan the body, the soma scan. Take that inner snapshot of our starting place. And we'll come in to Locust Pose on our bellies. So take now the blanket, the roll, to the bottom of your mat. And as you roll onto your belly, softly, let your shins rest on the roll so that your knees are off the floor. You're on your belly. And you can place the forehead on your hands. So go ahead and stack one palm right on top of the other, forehead on top of that stack. Let yourself rest. And come into that breath now. In through the nose for 6. Let the belly rise. And out through the nose for 6. Come into that even breath. Know that if you're in too much of a back bend, you may need another blanket underneath the hips, from the navel all the way down to where the legs meet the torso, the pelvic area. Rest the forehead on the hands and notice now. In for 6 and out for 5 or 6. Relax a little more. Relax through the jaw. Feel the shoulders sink down and soften. Know that you can stay here as we come into a light little more of a back bend locust shape. So go ahead and come up on your forearms. Nose points down. Let the pelvis sink down. Feel the weight through the elbows, all the way up into the shoulders, broad and wide. Take a deep breath here and lift the head, the nose, all the way upward, and then go ahead and draw that line downward. Nice and slow for the count of 6 up as you fill up. And then exhale all the way down. Let the head sink and soften. And one more like that, in for 6. And out for 6. Stack the hands and rest the forehead on top. Come to that long, luxurious breath now. Let it be that thread that weaves in and around this pose as we find the practice within the practice through the breath. And one more breath in this shape. Then go ahead and bring your arm underneath with a bent elbow as a pillow, and bring your legs up in fetal pose so the thighs are closer to the belly. The hand can be in front of you like a kickstand. And from here, breathe again into that 6 count. Eyes can be closed. Inhale deeply. And exhale deeply. Notice the lower back. Maybe the outer hips for you. And one more breath just like that. Then go ahead and use your monkey feet and bring your blanket up in front of you. Take the top hand on top of the leg. Leave the inner big toes, that whole line, together. So let the top foot rest in the bottom foot. Then a little lift of the top knee. It can come up just an inch and then down. Let it rest as it comes down. Close the eyes now once you have the gist of this movement, so that your inner eyes become a little bit more clear and focused. You can witness from the inside out now. A little lift of the top knee, maybe the same height or a little higher. And then lower, and as it lowers, feel and sense how it can relax a little more. And how about one more? Lift. And lower. Let it rest and soften. We'll come into recovery pose now. Go ahead and take that top leg and rest it forward onto your blanket. For some, that might feel like heaven on earth for some of you. For some of you, maybe take the blanket out and let it rest into the floor might be better. So for today, I'll represent the blanket. Take care of yourself where you are, and feel now the other leg. Let it lengthen down. Press into the floor through the toes and scooch that bottom leg back. That'll be up to your pelvis. So maybe it comes back, 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 and then let it rest. And if that feels delicious, pause here for a moment. Come back into your breath. Take a deep inhale through the nose. Deep exhale. Come to that comfortable count of 5 or 6 now. In for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. And out. Same count. Take your time. Relax and soften. Come into that breath. The breath will weave that beautiful tapestry. What does yours look like? That internal, colorful you. The breath is a thread. Relax through the jaw a little bit more. Notice the body soften and pour yourself into this pose each exhale. In for 5 or 6 and out. And one more just like that. On your next natural breath, go ahead and take that bottom leg, drag it up, roll onto your back, keep the roll right beside you, and with bent knees, scan the body as you heel toe your feet wide, knock the inner knees inward, and observe with the eyes closed. The hands can remain on the belly. Feel now underneath the palms, through your digestive tract, down into the floor, from one side to the other of that lower lumbar sacral spine, all the way through the outer hips, to the knees, to the heel. From the hips to the shoulders, to the back of the skull. And one more breath just like that. Take that roll right onto your right side where it is. Leave it right there. Press into your right foot and let your thigh of the left come in towards the belly. Go ahead and rest just above the ankle by the knee, the top of the thigh, and roll the foot around in a circular motion so that you're not resting on the ankle. Maybe the other direction. Now thread your left arm down that left side so it's a braking system. Take the thumb underneath the tush of that left side. So now we have a wedge. On the right side you have the blanket. Then go ahead and start to sway over towards the blanket. And then back over towards the arm. You might have a very small range of motion now. Feel and sense where you're at here as you gently rock and roll from one side to the other. A little rock and roll here. A 3.5 out of 10 in sensation. So we don't want to go into a big stretch. Keep it soft, please. We'll allow our bodies to imprint ease, especially if you've been living in a lot of pain and discomfort. Let's keep it in the restorative realm. And then the next time the leg comes over to the blanket, let it rest there. You can let it rest right into the blanket. Take the other arm, the right hand, and press the right thigh away, just lightly, just like a little kickstand. The elbow can be down in the floor, the fingertips resting into it. Or leave it. So wherever you feel good. The nose can be in the direction of the blanket or the ceiling or the opposite direction. Relax again through the jaw. Let it slacken. Feel that relaxation response come through the shoulders like weight, through the back body, the hips. Notice the targeted area of the left side of the tush, the lower back. Come into that nice long breath, in for 6 and out for 6. Notice how you feel. In for 6 and out for 6. Can you relax just a little bit more through the shoulders? Can they sink down just a little bit more? And one more breath like that. On your next natural breath, go ahead and carry the legs all the way up, up, up. Take the blanket so that it comes right parallel with the sit bones and the bottom of your mat. Then gather up that top leg, take it into the belly, so left thigh into the belly, and lengthen through the other leg and let it rest. Feel this shape. Take a deep breath, and as you exhale, let the shoulders, the back of the shoulders, come into the floor. If your arms aren't long enough to carry that left leg in, then use a strap and thread it behind the back of the knee. Maybe a scarf, a towel. Take another breath, nice and long. Beautiful long breath out. And one more. Then lengthen through that left leg and scan the body now. From the heels all the way up through the back of the legs. Feel that lower spine from hip to hip, all the way through the back body to the shoulders, to the center of the brain. Take another breath as you observe. Allow your body some time to absorb this goodness. And one more breath. Then go ahead and bend the knees. We'll come right over to the other side. You don't have to move, but I don't want to bring my back towards you. So go ahead and come on over to the other side by gently taking the hips to one side. You roll over to the other side and use your lower arm as a pillow. Take the blanket right in front of you and the top arm on top of that leg. Leave the big toe edge together. And as we breathe here together, softly lift the top leg maybe an inch. And as you lower, let it rest and feel that deep rest. Again, upward to a new height or the same. And then let it rest. That top hand can find a new spot on that top edge. And how about one more? Let it rest.
As it rests, come into our recovery pose by gently bringing the shin forward of that top leg to rest in the blanket or not. And then lengthen through the other leg to where it feels good. Some of you will press into the toes and allow the thigh to feel like it's coming into the floor as you rest. Eyes are closed. Relax through the jaw once again. Come into that deep breath of 6 and out for 6. Count and allow the body to recover and soften. Relax through the jaw just a little bit more. And feel that deep relaxation move downward from the jaw to the shoulders, down through the back body. Feel that deep relaxation through the lower spine, the hips, the legs. And one more breath just like that. On your next natural breath, go ahead and take the other leg, bend it, and drag it upward. Go ahead and come onto your back.
You'll leave the blanket on that left side. Press into your left leg and allow your right thigh to come into the belly and rest right on top of that thigh by the knee. Roll the foot around the ankle. Let it circle. And then the other direction. Feel the sole of the foot, the top of the foot, and then rest that effort. Thread the right hand right down that right side. Thumb can come underneath the tush a wee bit. And the other hand on the blanket so that you know that it's there to build that trust. And then go ahead and start to sway towards the blanket and away from the blanket. Move slowly and fluidly. Anchor your attention on the breath and start your count now. In for 5 or 6 and out for 5 or 6. Like we're moving in slow motion, like the second hand on a clock. Feel the bottom foot gently roll to the baby toe edge and to the big toe edge. Next time you come over to the blanket, let the outer thigh rest. You can take the fingertips of that left hand into the thigh, or you can just let it be. So wherever you are, feel one way. If it feels better, go to where it feels better. The nose can be pointed upward or towards the blanket or away. And then come into that comfortable count of 5 or 6. Stay with the breath. Notice what you're weaving on the inside in this pose. All the reds and the yellows, the greens and the blues.
the violet, indigo. Can you relax just a little bit more in this shape? Relax through the jaw. Let the shoulders sink down. Relaxation pours down through the rib cage, through the hips, through the legs. Deep inhale for 5 or 6. Deep exhale. And one more. On your next natural breath, go ahead and let the legs.
Go ahead and hug the thigh to your belly. And as you do so, take the monkey feet, maybe your hand, and have the roll on the other side of the sit bones. Lengthen through that left leg. Let it rest. Take a deep breath here. And as you exhale, send the shoulders, the back of the shoulders down towards the floor with a light little squeeze. And then rest. Feel the thighs over the roll. And notice how you feel as the eyes close in this deep relaxation now. Scan the body. Feel the heels through the legs. The sit bones relax a little more. The shoulders. Take a deep breath here. Exhale it all out. Give yourself a little pat on the back for a job well done. If you have 5 minutes here, let yourself rest and absorb as you observe all of the gentle subtleties that just occurred. And thank you for your practice. Namaste.